Hey guys, Crystal here at Crystal's Crafties. Today's tutorial I want to show you how to open and edit SVG files. There could be several different reasons that you have an SVG file that you want to open or edit and you don't want to use it on a cutting machine like a Cricut or a Silhouette. You might not even have the capability of doing that, so you have found yourself unable to use this SVG file that you have. I'm going to show you a free and easy way that you can both open and edit these SVG files, and the program we're going to use is called Inkscape. So here is Inkscape. This is a download. You will have to download this onto your computer, but it is free and it is safe. You just come to inkscape.org, and there's a lot of stuff going on here. It's a whole huge thing. But you'll just come to this download button and you want the current stable version. Whenever you're doing this download, there might be newer versions available. Always go to the current stable version. You click onto that and it will automatically tell you, based on your computer and your operating program, what is the best download for you. For me, it's telling me that this Windows installer package is best for me because I am working off of a PC. But you will see that they also have other options. If you're working on a Mac, you're going to be able to get the best download for the type of computer that you're working on. You will just click whatever it is. You can pick which one you want to do. Doing the higher bit is typically the best option, but if you have a lower operating system, you might want to go with a lower option. In any case, it will walk you through the download. You will want to get Inkscape downloaded onto your computer. Once you have that, let me delete this file that's in here. You will be pulling up a blank Inkscape screen. Yours may look different depending on the version that you have the version you have downloaded onto your computer. No matter how it looks, the functions are the same, and I will show you how to access everything we're going to use. Whether your screen looks like this or not, you'll still be able to follow along and access things just like I am. So first things first, let's go ahead and put in that file that I just had up. This one's going to be, if you just want to make, let's say you don't even want to change anything, you just have an SVG file and you want to print it off. So you've got your blank Inkscape screen. You're going to come to File and Import, and you're going to go find that SVG file. Now, its little icon may look completely different. Mine actually has the Inkscape logo because all of my things I've set to automatically open in Inkscape. Yours might have a Microsoft Edge logo. Just whatever that SVG file is that you have saved onto your computer, come find it, double click, and it will open into Inkscape. Before you do anything else, you need to come and lock this little lock. Let me show you what happens if you don't. Say, oh, that's too big. Well, look, oh my gosh, I didn't mean to do all that funky stuff. I just wanted to make it a little bit smaller. If you lock this lock up here, and then you come and you size everything, it just gets bigger and smaller. It does not go out of scale. So I've just made it a little bit smaller. I'm going to put it inside the white working screen here. You don't need to worry about why this area is gray and why this area is white. Just get it on the screen where you think it looks fine. And if this is all you wanted, you just wanted to open it so that you could print it, you're good to go. All you need to do now is come to File, Export. It's going to pull up an export menu over here. You want to click on your image so that it is selected, and then you want to export the selection only. You don't want to export anything else, so we're going to click this Export Selection Only. This is also on selection. You might want to make sure that it is, or else it might print your whole page. And then you can just export, and it will take it to a PNG graphic. It's going to save it onto your computer. It gave it its own little name. If you want to name it something else, you can click into this box and you can tell it where to go, and you can name it whatever you want. Whoops. And you'll see it's going to export as a PNG. You can also do a JPG if that's what you want. So I named it name1, and I'm just going to hit save, and that will go to my desktop. And here that file is on my desktop right where I saved it. I've now opened that SVG and saved it as a PNG. Okay, let's say though that you want to do a little bit more. You want to change the colors, like you like the design, you're just not a big fan of these colors. You want to put your own colors in there. Well, we can do that too, because this is an SVG file. You can edit everything in an SVG file. That's something that makes them so great if you are wanting to print them, but you didn't find something that was just right. If you have an SVG file, you can change any of those colors that you want. You can even delete parts of the file that you don't want. Okay, so this is all grouped together right now. There's not really much I can do. I need to ungroup it. There are several ways I can do that. I can right click and ungroup, and that has ungrouped these separate sections. Okay, you might run across this. The way this designer created the file, she was doing some cutting. You can see how some of this was cut out, and she just didn't delete her extras. So I'm just going to come in here and delete these extras. So I pulled this pumpkin off of that pumpkin. While this one is selected, I'm just hitting the backspace and it's deleting it. These programs work fundamentally like any kind of program where backspace or delete will delete the item. Okay, so let me just move all these words off to the side, and let's work with these ones that are colored here. So I'm just pulling them around and arranging them where I want, but they're still moving as complete groups, and I want individual letters. We need to ungroup even further. So while this is selected, I can right click and ungroup again, and it ungrouped each letter. I can also, if I take this one, I can hit Control-Shift-G, and it will ungroup all of that. The shift is important. Control-G groups it, Control-Shift-G ungroups it. Okay, that one had to be ungrouped twice. Okay. So now I can click into each individual letter and I can change whatever colors I want. Perfect. Actually, I think I moved that letter some. I didn't mean to. Okay. So changing colors. You can see down here I've got this bar of colors and I can scroll through it. This little arrow is going to scroll me down, scroll me down, scroll me down. I can keep scrolling through these colors. That's not the standard way that most programs allow you to choose a color. So let's just say I'm going to pick this color here. You see this box down here that says fill? If I click it, now I've got the color wheel. This is what most people are used to seeing when it comes to picking colors. That is how you will access it. You can get it from that color wheel down there, which only shows up when you click on a letter. So now it's there. If you are not finding the way to get into your color wheel, you can also come up to Objects, and you can come into Fill and Stroke, and it will open. See that flashed? It was telling me it was already open, but let me just close it out. Let me just show you. So if I come to Object and Fill and Stroke, there I have that Fill and Stroke menu again. It is opened up over here on my sidebar. And now I can come in and I can move this and slide this around. If I have a specific code, I can type it in here. If I type in all zeros, it turns black. So that works the way pretty much any other program works. There's also the color picker. You can select this and you can come and say, I want this E, because that's the one that's highlighted. I want this E to be this color. If you just click it, it turns that color. This is pretty basic for how most programs work. You can also, I like to find color palettes online, so I'm going to come in and import a color palette. Let's see here. Let's do this one. So I just double clicked, and this is now in my design. I'm going to drag it to make it a little bit bigger. And I'm going to change all the colors of these to this color palette down here. Something else I want to mention before we go too far. Inkscape is a very powerful design program. There's a lot going on. There's all this stuff and there's all this stuff. And if you'll notice, watch this menu up here. As I click through the tools, that menu bar changes. So you want to make sure you are staying in this selector tool. Don't click around outside of here, or the things I'm showing you are not going to be available to you. Make sure that your selector tool is the one that's highlighted, and you will have the menus that I'm talking about. If you see something different or funky, just come make sure that you are in your selector tool. Okay, so let's pick some of these colors that we want to change. Let's pick 1, 2, 3. Let's pick 4 of these colors. So I'm going to change every 4th letter. We have ungrouped everything. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This will be the next one. I'm going to hold shift. So that is now selected. I have that B selected and that Z selected. 1, 2, 3, 4. Shift. 1, 2, 3, 4. Shift. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So these ones, let's start with this orangey color. So I've got all of these selected. I want to make them this orange color. I'm going to come and get the teardrop right here, the selector tool. And I'm just going to hover it over the orange, select, and now they have all changed to that orange color. I have to put my tool back to the selector so I can do this all over again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. One of these didn't get right. I'll just do this one. Okay. And let's make these, instead of the orange, let's make them this blue. So, eyedropper, blue. They are all that blue color now. Back up to my selector. I'm going to continue on. I think the next one I'm going to make maybe this brownish color. Okay, so we've changed all the colors. This one was not one of my colors. See, orange, blue, brown, blue, orange, blue, brown, blue, orange, blue, brown, blue, orange, blue, brown, blue, orange. This needs to be orange. Okay. And now we can take these and put them back in where they were. Okay, so just like that, you have taken the design you started with and you've changed all of the colors. So then you would just take this, drag a box around everything and group it all back together. Control G will group it. Also right click and group would have grouped it. You're going to fit everything back onto your screen and you're going to export it just like we did in the beginning. So you're going to come to File, Export, you get your export menu here. You've got it on selection, export selected only. You come down here, decide where you want it to go, what you want to name it, and you would export it just like we did the first one. Okay, let's say we want to do a little more editing. You have purchased an SVG file that you need to edit. This happens in my Etsy shop a lot. I make SVG cake toppers. And they're meant to be cut on a Cricut, but sometimes people want to just print the cake topper and they don't realize that when they've purchased this SVG file, it doesn't operate like a PNG. You can't just open it and print it. You have to put it into a compatible program. And then if you want to add words to it, like if you want to add a name, you'd be able to do that here in Inkscape. So let me just pull up one of my cake toppers. Okay, so this is one that has been selling a lot lately. And I do have it with different numbers. So a lot of times people will want a different number, like let's say they want the 2 instead of the 3. And they're like, well, I've got this image here and I can't do anything with it, and you know, this listing says that I have all these other number options and I don't see any of that, it's because they're expecting a different file type. Let me get these numbers pulled in. I'll show you how to change everything. So let me go import the SVG that has the numbers. Okay, so here's all the different numbers that you can use. So let's say I do not want the 3. Well, I need to ungroup this file to begin with. Okay, let me take this 3 out of here. It can go away. This needs to be ungrouped as well. Almost every SVG you get is going to come grouped all together. Okay, so just like that, I have changed this from a second birthday to from a third birthday into a second birthday. I can delete all of this now. Don't need it. There's more design features you're going to need to use. You're not going to want this 2 sitting on top of the banner like that. You want it kind of back behind the banner. So let's do some rearranging. While we're in our selector tool, remember we're going to stay here in this guy. Whoops, I didn't mean to open the tool. You can move things around. These are your positions. You move things up and down here. I've got the 2 selected. I want it to go behind the banner, so I'm going to move it down. You see how that has a down arrow? And just like that, it shifted to be behind the banner. Let me make it a little bit bigger. Perfect. Okay. I could have put it behind the donut as well. If I select my 2 again and I move it down again, it went back behind the donut, but I don't think anyone would want that there. So I'm going to put it back up 1 layer. This banner, I'm going to put back where it was, and it's also in 2 layers. I'm going to ungroup it because this white part can be moved off as well, and then you just have the pink banner. Now the reason this whole background thing is here, let me ungroup this some more, is because this is meant to be cut on a machine, and when you're layering cake toppers together, you need a base to layer everything onto. But for the design, if you didn't want that there, you could delete that. Let's just say we wanted this here, you know, and we didn't want this background back in here. Well, you could delete that. It doesn't have to be there. You can have this file however you want it. That is the beauty of an SVG file. Now let's say we want to get a name onto this banner. Moving everything aside, I'm going to hit the plus on my keyboard, which is enlarging my screen. When you're working with files like this, you don't want to enlarge one part without enlarging the others, because then they won't all fit back together. So if you want something bigger so you can see it better, enlarge your screen. And I just hit the plus on my screen 2 times. If I want it smaller, I hit the minus and it goes back smaller. Okay, let's put a name in here. So this tool is your text tool. You select this, you tap anywhere on your screen, and you're going to get a cursor. I have typed in my name, obviously, but this is not the kind of font that you want. You kind of want a printed font so you can move the letters around and make them flow. Any font that shows up in Inkscape is going to be a font that you have installed on your computer. If you don't do a lot of designing, you're just going to have very basic fonts installed on your computer. I suggest you go to a site where you can download fonts, and you're going to find truly amazing fonts that you would love to use in your program. Let me show you where I get mine from. So I get all of my fonts from Creative Fabrica. If I just come in here to fonts, you can see I haven't even sorted this out yet, but I mean, look at this. It's just bananas, the amount of fonts that you can find in here. There's several ways to get free fonts. I will put a link in this video. That SVG file that I used to begin with, I also got it from Creative Fabrica, that fall crunchy leaves one. I'll put a link in this video description where you can get 10 files for free from Creative Fabrica to decide if you like it and want to try it out, if you do, you can sign up for a yearly membership. It's like $50 a year and you get unlimited downloads. So come and pick a font, get that downloaded to your computer. Maybe I will just work with this font. Let's see how it works. So I had to come back into my selector tool. We were in the text tool and I have all these text options, but I want to change the color of that. It's not a very pretty color. So I've come to the selector tool and I can now have my colors. Let's just make it like, this is the fill and stroke little icon up here. It's already open in my toolbox. Actually, you know what? Let's pick a color. Let's pick like this purpley color. So I've got my dropper. I'm going to hover it over the purple. That's good. Okay. And I've increased my size. Maybe I can work with this font. What is this font? Milkity. Okay. I got it from Creative Fabrica. So here it is. I need to move the letters around. But before I can move them around, I need to actually turn them into individual paths or individual little designs. Right now it's just a text word and it can't be broken apart any. So to do this, I'm going to select my selector tool here again. The word is highlighted. You're going to come to path and object to path. And now if I click into it, each word or each little letter can be separated and I can move it around and I can put it on this banner kind of where I think it might fit well. Okay, let's see how that's going to work. Let's put the white border back around it. Well, it would need some additional editing. I'm going to make this all smaller, so I've selected it all as a group again. And I'm just going to shrink it all down a little bit. Okay, so it does kind of work in there. It's not the font I would have chosen, but it's what pulled up on the screen. So and then here is my 2 and my donut. And let's say that's all I wanted, and drag a box around it. Group it together, Control G, and then I accidentally deleted it all. If you do accidentally delete something, Control Z is your best friend. It brings it right back. Okay, so here's this, File, Export. I can now export this design as a PNG and print it for whatever I needed to print it for, and I've been able to completely customize and edit that file. All right, guys, so that's all I have for you. We'll see you next time.